Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks all day, every day, even when you're asleep. That's what holding a grudge does to your soul. So how do we lighten that load? How do we get rid of that burden? It's with forgiveness. Now, easier said than done, right? But forgiveness and gratitude isn't just about the other person. It's about reclaiming your peace. And it's crucial for your well-being. You know, Martin Luther King Jr. said, forgiveness is not an occasional act. It is a permanent attitude. And my wife used to always say, when you hold a grudge, you're giving someone else free rent inside your head. Holding a grudge comes from the old French word groucher, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong, but it means to grumble, and it's related to the English word grouch. Other older English and German related words have similar meanings that translate to complain, to wail, to grumble, or to cry out. So why do we hold a grudge? Sometimes it's a personal betrayal. Sometimes it's something that someone did to us. Sometimes it's because of unresolved conflict, something that happened a long time ago and we never fixed it. Sometimes it's a perceived injustice. This one is crazy because sometimes it's something that we think someone has done that we found out later it never actually happened. So that one can be dangerous. Watch out for that. Sometimes it's fear. You know, my wife's grandmother, when my wife was a small child, my wife's grandmother, she set up a bank account, a fund that she started to put money. And the idea was that she would put money in this every once in a while, and it would start to grow and build. And then when my wife grew up, she would give her the money so that she could have the money for college or for the future. And so she started putting money in this when she was a real young girl. And then my wife's parents started to put money in there as well. And eventually, when my wife started working and doing jobs, she started putting money in there as well. So as you can imagine, after 15, 16 years, she had, I think, close to $20,000 to $25,000 in this account. And so then she grew up and she married me. And so then she asked her grandmother after our honeymoon, she asked her, can I have the money now? And her grandmother tells her, no, you can't have the money. That money was supposed to be used for college, and so you can't have it. And so she literally just stole $20,000 to $25,000 from her. And that really hit my wife hard. It was like, what the heck? She had put money in there, her grandmother had put money in there, her parents had put money in there, and she just took it away from her. And for years, she held a grudge because of this. And I gotta be honest, I did too, because I would have benefited from that money too, let's be honest. But eventually we realized that it was starting to poison our soul. And we had a conversation one night and we decided, you know what? We're done with this. We're not gonna hold a grudge over this anymore. It's not helping. It's making us feel negative, and so we let it go and we moved on. And you know what? The emotional freedom was amazing. So there are negative emotional consequences to holding a grudge. Sometimes it causes persistent anger and resentment. So even after the event has happened or whatever made you hold a grudge, it just keeps holding on. It causes chronic stress and anxiety. We know how bad anxiety is in this country right now, right? And it can impact personal relationships. So it can cause a wedge in those relationships that you're trying to build. Holding a grudge can also have physical health impacts. It's been shown that it can have impacts on your cardiovascular health. It can have issues with digestion. It can have issues with reproduction. It can cause problems with sleeping, and it can cause a weakened immune system. You know, researchers have shown that unhealthy emotional regulation, blaming others, suppressing emotions, and holding on to those negative feelings, it actually produces more negative feelings. So when you hold on to those, it just causes this ripple effect that makes everything worse. So forgiveness and acceptance, on the other hand, they often lead to an emotionally stable mindset, less stress, and healthy and a better well-being. That's why forgiveness is crucial for personal growth. Now, don't get me wrong, forgiveness does not mean forgetting or condoning the wrong that was done. It's about freeing yourself from that emotional burden instead of holding on to something that you don't need anymore. Now, there are emotional and physical benefits of forgiveness. It gives you peace and emotional relief. It gives you a renewed sense of freedom and control over your life. It means that you're not enslaved to your emotions anymore. They're not controlling you. And on top of that, how can you expect to be forgiven if you won't forgive someone else? There's going to be a time in your life where you're going to have to ask someone to forgive you. And how can you expect them to forgive you if you won't forgive them? It gives you more purpose. It increases your immune system. It makes you healthier. It gives you better fitness, and it decreases stress. So how do you go about forgiving? You start by acknowledging the pain, and you engage in the act of forgiving. You accept that it happened, and you choose to move on. Sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's hard, but you choose. You have to make that choice to move on. It doesn't matter if they ask for forgiveness. My wife's grandmother never asked us for forgiveness, and to be honest, I don't expect her to, but we forgave her anyway, and we were able to move on with our lives. The next is you understand the reason behind the person's activities. Sometimes there's a situation or a perspective that you didn't know about, and when you really start to think through or you practice empathy, you realize that maybe you were holding a grudge for something kind of stupid. And then reflect on the benefits of forgiveness for your own well-being. Emphasize the positive life changes that can come from that forgiveness. Prayer and meditation can be huge to help you heal and to help you move on from this. There was a lady that my wife knows that was raped as a child, and she carried that for years. She carried that burden for years, but she made a conscious choice to move on. And she is one of the nicest ladies you'll ever meet. But she made that choice instead of focusing on the grudge. That is a horrible thing to do. I can't think of anything worse than that, but she chose to move on. So there's a quote from Mahatma Gandhi that says, "The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong." So to recap, grudges really rob you of life, and forgiveness gives you new strength and purpose. So what I would love for you to do today is think of one person that you can forgive. Even if it was the person that cut you off in traffic this morning, think of one person that you could forgive. And I would love for you to share it in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for going on this journey of forgiveness. And I would encourage you to embrace forgiveness into your life, because you don't want to give someone free rent in your head, and you want to have your own peace and emotional well-being. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember to inspect your life daily.